I'm Chas with Chas's Crazy Creations. Welcome to Home Talk. Today we're going to be making a panel mirror inspired by Pottery Barn, but for a lot less money. Let's get started. I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado, and in the comments I would love to know where you're watching from. So please type that in now. I'll be using some mirrors for this project, and you can find the mirrors in the materials link provided. You'll first need to know what wall you're working with and what size you want to go with. So I'm going to be using 6 mirrors for my project, but you could use more or less for your walls. And you'll want to separate them out and decide which way you want them presented on your wall. So here is one option. Or another option might be to rotate the mirrors a different direction. Oops, there we go. Like this, and you get a whole nother look. And you can use this vertical or horizontal, the choice is yours. All right, another question for you. In the comment section, I would love to know what the weather's like where you're at. We're having winter here, but we've actually had a nice little break where it's been about 60 degrees, and I absolutely love it. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is pull the mirror out. Now you could leave the frame as is and leave it black, but I wanna go with more of a farmhouse look, so I'm gonna be painting my frame. Okay, we're ready to paint, and for this I'm gonna be using home decor, folk art home decor chalk paint in the color Silver Shadow, and I've protected my surface, and I'm gonna go ahead and wear gloves. Gotta give it a good shake, and it's ready to use. Now, I have another question for you. So I'm gonna be using just chalk paint, but they also make textured chalk paint, which gives your surface a textured look. Which one would you have chose? Would you have chose the textured or just the flat chalk paint? Drop that in the comments. I wanna know which one you would use. All right, and I'm just gonna use a good old chip brush for this project. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get paint on the brush and then brush the frame. I am not super worried about coating it all the way, given that I want to give it more of a farmhouse look. You could paint it very solid if you like, and then distress it, or just make it solid. So you have lots of choices to make it personalized for what you're wanting. So 1 coat, 2 coats, whatever you want. This paint, what's great about it is it dries really fast, which is nice. But then it also, you can just follow the instructions on it, and it will tell you, the dry time and when to do a 2nd coat and all of that information. So I hope in the comments you're telling me where you're from, what the weather is like, which paint you would have used. And again, the materials list is linked to this, so you can just click through and see the supplies that I'm using for this project. Here's a quick look at them all painted, and I'm gonna stop here and let them dry now entirely before moving forward. Okay, now that they've had time to dry, I'm gonna put them in the shape that I'm going to want to use them in. So I'm gonna flip over all of the frames to reflect this design. Hey, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I appreciate you all being here watching this with me, and I just want to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. What all are you doing for Valentine's Day? Drop that in the comments, I want to know. Okay, I'm going to take the mirrors now, and I'm going to stick them back into the frames. And besides telling me what you're doing for Valentine's Day, how about telling me what your favorite Valentine's Day memory is? What is your favorite Valentine's Day memory? Drop that in the comments. Okay, all my backs are back in, and now I need to use an adhesive to glue these all together. And we're gonna start with, I'm gonna use E6000, but there are several different kinds of glues you can use. So just use the glue that you are comfortable with. And what I'm gonna do is glue my edges together. So I'm going to put some on one edge, like this. And then I'm gonna stick those together, like so. And then I'm gonna also do each edge that touches another mirror. And I keep doing this until all the mirrors are glued together. Okay, for the sake of time, I have glued all of these together, and I'm gonna let that dry. But that's not all I'm going to do. I'm also going to reinforce it with some tape. Now you could use any tape that you want, but I'm going to use gaffer's tape. And one of my favorite things about this tape is that it's really easy to use. It's kind of like a fabric tape and it tears really easy. So to reinforce it, I'm going to measure it along this length roughly, tear it off, and stick it on like this. And that just helps reinforce the glue and your work to stay together. I'm also going to tape it across this way so that I'll have 2 strips here. So one like so. And again, this will be in the materials section so that you can find it. It's called gaffer's tape. We used it for dance floors as well when I was in my dance days. All right, new question for you to drop in the comments. What is it you're working on? What is one of the DIYs that you've been working on? Put that in the comment section, please. And one last strip that we're gonna do, or I guess 2 technically, we're gonna reinforce it across diagonally, like so. One other thing I love about this tape is that it doesn't, if you do use it for something and you need to take it off later, it does not leave behind a sticky residue. Sometimes tapes can be a nightmare to remove if you ever need to remove it. So there we go, we're all reinforced. And one last thing for reinforcement is foam core board. So we are going to line it up because it's a little bigger than what I need. And I'm going to use a pencil and a ruler to mark it off. All right, and then I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife or a little bit of a razor to help me cut the foam core board. Okay, and then we're gonna remove that piece. So now we have a nice reinforcement for the back of our picture. Okay, so I'm gonna move this poster board, and you can use whatever glue you want to, again, to adhere this poster board, but I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, use my hot glue gun, and I'm just gonna go back and forth, getting lots of hot glue on there, and then I'm gonna put this foam core board on the back of the frame. Now, once this is all good and dry, how do you hang it? Well, you had a few options. If you wanted to leave the foam core board off and you trusted it, you could use the hooks that are still on here. You could buy a hanging kit, but hanging from the foam core board can be a little tricky. And so one of the things I use are these command strips. And what I love about these is they don't leave marks in the wall as well. And they look like this when they come out, and what you do is you take them and you fold them so that they touch each other like this, and then you squeeze them together. So there's 2 of them that you sandwich together, and then you push until they crinkle. And again, I'll put this in the materials section for you. And if you have questions, please keep dropping those in the comments, as well as, you know, what your favorite DIYs are, and all those other questions I've asked you, because I love reading them. Okay, so now I'm gonna take these strips and I'm gonna place them onto my mirror, and that way they'll be able to adhere to the wall. Here's the final piece all hung up. And this is our entryway, so I feel like it's gonna make a great first impression, and it's a great statement piece. I have one more mirror that I had already created to show you, just so you can see another variation on it. And here's another piece that I made. This one using 9 mirrors. I didn't paint it, I left the mirrors as is. So the possibilities are really endless with this idea. I'd love it if you'd follow me on Home Talk TV, and I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my blog and my YouTube channel at Chas's Crazy Creations. Thank you, Home Talk, for having me, and thank you to all of you for watching.